Hey, and happy Monday. Happy New Year. We are in court again this week. It's our first week back past the New Year's holidays. So we are making our third attempt now to start with Lafrida Todd. This is the Nacho Hippo case. We had it up for trial two other times. The judges have continued it. And when I left to walk over here and talk with you guys, the jury was still being qualified. So that's going on. Everything's tracking in the right direction. I am told that this afternoon will be a stand your ground hearing, which generally speaking, a lot of times we do those hearings. That is where the defense attorney is asking the judge, don't let the prosecution go forward. Stop them in their tracks. Don't let a jury hear this. And stand your ground is a wonderful concept if it's used properly, which the truth is that the classic stand your ground case is you're in bed at home and you hear a crash at the window and you run over and a masked bandit is coming through your window and you defending your house and your property, you shoot him. And the problem with that scenario is that no prosecutor across the state would ever prosecute you for doing that. And now, de facto, what stand your ground is every murder case, a defense attorney is filing it. If they don't file it, it's going to be an appellate issue. So we have to fight on these every time, but that is going on this afternoon. Most of the time it's held a month or so in front of the trial, but we didn't get notice that they wanted to do a stand your ground until Friday. So the case is over 2 years old and they've decided that they want to do a stand your ground, which is well within their rights. We'll start that this afternoon. It should end sometime tomorrow with, as they call their witnesses. And then we will go straight into the murder trial, the Nacho Hippo murder trial of Lafrida Todd, with the state calling opening statements and then the state calling witnesses. And then, next week we should be able to give you an update as to whether or not she was convicted or found not guilty. But that'll be next week. That is trending finally in the right direction. In the past, I'd let a few of these get behind because we were talking about Christmas security and, don't drink and drive over New Year's and very important messages. But during that time, a lot of people that were scheduled to be on the trial roster have pled guilty. A lot of drug cases pled guilty. Jason Richardson, 39 of Conway, got 5 years in prison for distribution of fentanyl. Samuel Sellers, 51 of Conway, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for distribution of fentanyl. Marcus Walker, 37 of Georgetown, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for possession with intent to distribute fentanyl and crack cocaine. James Bynum, 44 of Myrtle Beach, sentenced to 10 years for possession with intent to distribute meth and possession with intent to distribute cocaine. Quindari Curtin, 37 of Sellers, over near Florence, he got 8 years in prison for possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, trafficking meth, and possession of a gun. Matthew Lomonaco, 44 of Myrtle Beach, was sentenced to 5 years in prison for trafficking in meth, Peewit heroin. Nigel Vereen, 33 of Little River, was sentenced to 5 years. And I'll put all of these in a document so you can go back and look or see their mugshots. But that was possession with intent to distribute meth, breach of trust, and a gun charge. Deshaun Page, 26 of Conway, he was sentenced to 10 years, but it was suspended to 5. and then probation at the tail end of it. He'll serve 5 years for possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine, and on a strong arm robbery and a failure to stop for a blue light. So he's 26 years old of Conway. Basically a 5-year sentence. Zachary Souls, 31 of Gallowitz Ferry, got 8 years for possession with intent to distribute meth. Audrey Evans, 24 of Little River, 7 years for possession with intent to distribute cocaine. And just short of a dozen, this is the 11th one, Jeffrey Vereen, 27 of Longs, got 10 years for pleading to possession with intent to distribute meth and a pistol charge. There's a bunch of other cases that went forward. Those are some of the ones that kind of had the theme of drugs and guns. And you'll see across the board, there's a difference in sentencing, but there's a difference in judges in these. It went anywhere from 4 years to 10 years, it looks like, for this smattering of drug cases. And, it's not only different judges, but in all fairness, sometimes a person would have very little record. Sometimes they would have a worse record, and that plays into it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the sentencing, and one of the main components is who's your judge, who's your prosecutor, who's your what's your prior record. Those sort of things always go into it, and prior record's always really big. So we have at least 11 bad guys off the street recently for selling dope, and some of those guys had guns. I think you'll see another theme. Most of these charges was fentanyl, which is really, really strange, because just a year or two ago you would have seen almost all heroin. But now fentanyl is coming into it, which is a lot more potent even than heroin. So hopefully we will have more to report to you next Monday. But have a great kickoff to 2025, and we will see you again Monday.